610 WTVN. Aviation crisis consultant Ken Jenkins is on the line now. And Ken, just the more we hear about this story, this Germanwings Flight 9525 crashing in the French Alps, it breaks my heart more and more. We learn more about now the pilot. Apparently he wanted to do something good. His ex-girlfriend's talking with the German newspaper saying he has mental illness. It goes and goes, and I guess, you know, when you're in the business of crisis consulting for aviation, is there anything we could do to stop this kind of thing from happening again?
Good morning, Joel. There are things that we can do within the aviation industry, and one of those is to include a more in-depth psychological check as part of the yearly certification with medical that pilots undergo. Right now, they are go through the pre-employment process. You know, they're checked for their aptitude and, of course, their educational background, and they have all of their screening that they have to go through. But once they're on board, then the medical becomes the key piece, and the psychological piece kind of falls away.
It's interesting. One of the reports I saw, he dealt with a heavy bout of depression in 2009. Mm-hmm. And given the fact that he literally has other people's lives at his control, is that something that you think is just an X mark? Like, if someone ever deals with a heavy bout of depression, they can no longer be eligible to be a pilot?
Well, and that used to be the case. I'm not sure how much that is today. What's interesting, though, is I don't know in 2009 if Germanwings and Lufthansa, the parent company, knew the reason that he left for 6 months, or if they're just finding that out now. I mean, certainly what we're seeing is what we thought would happen a few days ago is, based on the early analysis that the co-pilot deliberately brought the plane down, that we were going to start seeing a real in-depth check on any stressors that might have contributed to his change of behavior to bring that plane down. What were the indicators that were present, family history of psychological issues, and that's what we're seeing. So I think over time that picture will become more complete.
Yeah, and then do you get a sense, and we're speaking with aviation crisis consultant Ken Jenkins. Ken, do you get a sense that moving forward now, this will kind of be a platform? We'll look at this crash and how this went down and say we can't tolerate this again, so there's going to be more scrutiny for pilots, there'll be more scrutiny for cockpits and how they're built and those kinds of things?
I do, Joel, and I think from the perspective that we're already seeing countries adopt the two-person cockpit rule, where if somebody leaves the cockpit, another person, whether it's a relief pilot or a flight attendant, has to come in. And, that just took a matter of days. If nothing else, we're certainly going to see the conversation. And, I've heard some reporters talk about that this is really not a high-risk situation, meaning that there aren't a lot of pilots out there that are depressed and whatnot and trying to bring down planes. And while I agree with that, the thing that always sticks with me is, while it may not be the highest risk, it is if you're the family member in the aftermath of this disaster.
Yeah. And well, that used to be one of the calming things that people would say to themselves is, well, I don't have any trouble getting on this plane because I know the staff wouldn't get on it if they thought there was a problem. Well, now, I certainly wouldn't say that in an airport today.
It was abundantly clear after 9/11, how passengers really relied on the crew, and now the passengers and the crew work together if there's somebody rowdy on the plane, but you never expect it to be the pilot of the aircraft.
That's exactly right. Well, it's fascinating, and it continues to unfold. Ken, I appreciate your voice and conversation as a part of it. Ken Jenkins, he's aviation crisis consultant. He's live here on News Radio 610 WTVN.